Welcome to the Eastern Sib podcast at the Historian's Eye. Please subscribe, and if you'd like to be notified when new episodes are released, click the bell icon.
The Shang Dynasty, from about 1600 to 1046 BC, was the second dynasty of China, which succeeded the Xia Dynasty from about 2700 BC to 1600 BC, after the overthrow of the Xia tyrant Ji by the Shang leader Tang. Since many historians question whether the Xia dynasty really existed, the Shang dynasty may have actually been the first in China, and the origin of what has become recognized as Chinese culture. The stability of the country during the Shang dynasty led to numerous cultural advances, such as industrialized bronze casting, the calendar, religious rituals, and writing. The first king, Tang, instantly began to work for the people of his country instead of for his own pleasure and luxury, and provided a role model for his successors. These men created a stable government, which would continue for 600 years. But eventually, according to the records of the Chinese historians, they lost the mandate of heaven, which allowed them to rule. The Battle of Miangqiao, fought in the midst of a huge rainstorm of thunder and lightning, Tang defeated Ji. Ji ran from the field and sought safety in exile, eventually dying from an illness. Tang abolished Ji's tyrannical policies and excessive taxes and instituted a new government, which worked for the people instead of against them. In 1952, the remains of a vast city of the Shang dynasty were discovered near the modern city of Xingzhou. This city had walls 32 feet high and an amazing 65 feet thick, which ran for over 4 miles to enclose an area of over 1 square mile. The excavations also uncovered bronze foundries, which were used to craft weapons. The weapons of the Shang military were all bronze, and finds at excavations have shown that they were well armed. Still, the arts were as important to the Shang as military campaigns. The bronze statues found thus far are far superior in craftsmanship and size to those found anywhere else at the same time. Besides work in bronze, the craftsmen of the Shang dynasty were also experts in stonework, especially jade. Grave goods of very ornate jade workmanship have been found, including bodies covered in jade shingles, like armor plates. In textiles, the artists were equally skilled. Work in silk and other woven materials were of very high quality, which is clear from the clothing of carefully preserved bodies from Shang dynasty tombs. The prosperity and stability of the Shang dynasty not only produced a thriving economy and great works of art, but also allowed for the development of religious thought and ritual. The traditional Chinese calendar was lunar, based on the moon. But farmers needed a solar calendar so they could tell when the best times were to plant and harvest their crops. During the Shang dynasty, a man named Wen Yin measured time over a 1-year period by measuring the shadows throughout a day using a sundial and a water clock. He established the 2 solstices of the year, and after that, the 2 equinoxes. So he created the calendar known Wan Lin Li, or the perpetual calendar. Before Wan Yin, the Chinese believed there were 354 days in a year, but Wan Yin proved there were 365. Also developed during this time were the oracle bones, which were writings on tortoise shells and on animal bones such as water buffalo or oxen shoulder blades. The first unambiguous appearance of Chinese script in the form of inscribed oracle bones happened during this period. The script found on these bones is archaic, but is starting to appear more like classic Chinese. Musical instruments were developed by the Shang. At Yinzhou, excavations have revealed instruments from the Shang period, such as wind instruments, drums, cymbals, bells, chimes, and bone flutes have also been discovered. The founding of the city of Anyang, which became the capital of the Shang dynasty, correspond to the height of its power. The 2 greatest emperors after Tang were Pang Ging, who moved the capital to Yen, and Wu Ding. Wu Ding is one of the only Shang emperors whose existence is corroborated by physical evidence of archaeology. He reigned for 58 years from 1250 to 1192 BC, and during this time the country developed many of the important advances mentioned above, as well as those in medicine, dentistry, and the fine arts. After Wu Ding's reign, the dynasty began to decline until the last emperor Zhou, also known as Xin, who forgot his duty to the people and concentrated on gratifying his own desires. He spent most of his time with his concubine, Daji, and not only neglected his duties, but made his people pay for his luxuries and idleness. He became a worse tyrant than Ji of the Shang dynasty had been, and was finally overthrown by King Wu from the province of Zhou at the Battle of Muyi in 1046 BC. The Shang dynasty was replaced by the Zhou dynasty, which began to dissolve in its final years into a phase known as the Warring States.